Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this free recap video, I actually want to prepare everybody for something that's coming up in the next 2 weeks and it's going to continue on, and that is the kickoff to earnings season. Now, why is earnings season so important to a futures trader? We have a saying in the room, which is the concept of the tail wagging the dog. In other words, individual stocks and even sectors affecting the larger broader averages. What happens when an event in, say, JP Morgan, Citibank affect the XLF, and then the XLF affects, again, in turn, the broader average. And you can see the impact financials alone have on out of 3 of the broader averages. Regional banks have a little bit more of an impact, so something like the KRE impacting the Russell, but the Russell is also very heavily weighted in financials. Now, why do I bring financials up? Because when you're looking at financials, you are really looking at the kickoff for the newest earnings season. And you can see right here, JP Morgan, Wells, Citi, Goldman, Bank of America. I mean, we are really starting to, American Express is down in here. We are really starting to heat up into that less than 2-week window going into the financials kicking things off. That puts the XLF squarely in its sights, and of course XLF affects S&P, Dow, and again, like I mentioned, the Russell. So I guess first bit of homework is I use Estimize extensively. This is a free site. Started from a buddy of mine back in my StockTwits days. It's interesting, a lot of these great free tools that are out there. Now, Estimize is one of those tools that I don't think is used enough. I love it. We use it a lot in the Simpler Futures room. And imagine crowd-sourced revenue and EPS opinion. It's kind of like Kickstarter meets, I don't know, Earnings Whispers, right? Earnings Whispers, great. But this is a different level of analysis. So I'll be using this a whole lot more. Now, when I say sign up, I think you can use different social media or emails just to automatically sign up and get access. It's a free site and it's amazing. And so what we do with this is we start to, number one, get the countdown, because I program in those names that I am interested in, heavily weighted names within the broader averages, heavily weighted names within the individual sectors. We start to look at EPS and revenue expectations, and that's something that we'll start to do here probably starting tomorrow. So that's number one. Number two is, why is this important? This is important because when you look at even Walgreens the other day and the way in which WBA affected the broader averages, this is a very light-weighted name within the Dow, but it moved down, 5 or 6 points on the gap down. Now, I will say also, nobody in their right mind should have been long Walgreens. The only thing you should have been is short. Red grab candles, angle of the wave, retest of the wave right before earnings. I mean, this was a classic trend following, be short into earnings or play, basically a run lower into earnings. I rather play runs higher into earnings, quite frankly. But this kind of name is going to affect our potential futures trading of what? The Dow. Now, this is a low-weighted name. What do you think is going to happen to when JP Morgan reports and its potential effect on the S&P? Microsoft. I mean, there's a lot of different names. Think about the heavily weighted tech names. Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. We know this happens. But I think stock traders are very in tune to this, obviously, but futures traders need to be as well. So that's why I want today's video to be about preparing for the upcoming earnings season. Start putting that list together of those heavily weighted names within each one of the indices. We keep this, as a constant conversation in the futures room, talking about the NASDAQ and its heavily weighted names, talking about the individual sectors and those heavily weighted names. And a really great way to start that is to prepare by setting up your Estimize. So that's the homework for today, if I can give you that. That's how we prepare for earnings season. Ding, ding, the bell is ringing. We are right there on the cusp of re-entering earnings season. Let me show you the Estimize one more time. This is, again, a free site, right? Program in those names that are heavily weighted. You can see, as I've done here, you'll be ready to go. I'll see you in the next update.